Okay, welcome back to the Ipswich View. And what shall we talk about this week, Iain? Is the word begin with M banned from this conversation?
I don't know what you're on about.
We're going to talk about that FA Cup result. We're also going to talk about the signing of a new striker, problems at the defence, and also we're going to talk to a Preston fan and get the lowdown on the game at Deepdale this weekend. Let's start then. The FA Cup game, 38 shots versus 2. It's the 2 that go in that count, though, isn't it?
Yeah, do you know, I've never seen such a one-sided game in all my life, and it could have been a game of what ifs. And everyone will say, "Well, it doesn't matter about the what ifs; it's the goals that count." But we hit both posts. Keeper made and this is in the first half. In the first 20 minutes, we hit both posts. A number of fantastic saves. It was just like that goal is living a charmed life. And when they broke away and scored that goal, to see 4,500 Maidstone fans absolutely lose it, I was kind of smiling because, I turned around to my wife when the second goal went in for Maidstone, and I just turned around and laughed at her and said, "This is why I bloody love the FA Cup." And, don't feel really that bitter towards Maidstone. It's a bit disappointing we couldn't, at least make some of the chances count. But it was a spectacle to witness. I'm not going to go on too much about some of the things that could have been done better, or some of the refereeing. Don't want to take any away from Maidstone. They need the money, and that's great to see them progressing.
Yeah, I was nearly going to compliment there for not mentioning Anthony Taylor, but welcome to the Premier League and Anthony Taylor's refereeing. You get more of that if you go.
Well, if you want to dissect it, if anybody's like, it's a bit salty, just have a replay of the second goal for Maidstone. And when Sarmiento's shirt is literally stretched about 45 inches, and the referee is about 10 foot away, I think he's not playing. He's not playing. I don't understand that. I don't understand the thought process there. But doesn't take away the fact that playing high line, we're going to get caught out, and we did twice, and that's why we say there are a few issues at the back that need resolving.
Yeah, it's not worth us going into, has he made too many changes and this player could have done that, because it's a freak result, isn't it?
There was always going to be changes. We had enough skill and talent on that pitch. We could have put them to bed, but we didn't. So that's off to Maidstone. They got some decent players for that level.
Yeah, and Ipswich have got a busy February already without having a replay trip to Maidstone. We'll talk about that in a second. But big news this week: we've got a new striker. Not available this weekend, but talk us through the signing.
So it's well documented. We're after a couple of strikers. We want the big replacement for George Hurst. That's why we're pushing for Sam Gallagher, with Kiefer Moore on standby. If that doesn't happen, in the meantime, we know we need another player up front to go alongside him since we let Freddie Ladapo go. And fortunately, today they sealed the purchase of Ali Al-Hamadi from Wimbledon. I think it's anywhere between 1.5 to 1.75 million, depending who you speak to. The price was driven up slightly because there's a substantial payoff towards Wickham, sell-on clause of 25%, I believe. So it's good for Wimbledon and it's good for Wickham Wanderers. They're both going to get out of this. And hopefully for us, it's good that we get a young 21-year-old player who looks like he's got bags of potential.
Yeah, and you're going to need him as well, because you've got 6 games in 24 days, which it's going to test the squad a lot, isn't it? Starting with Preston this weekend, which we'll preview in a second, and then you've got West Brom at home, which is an early kickoff, and then, goodness me, an evening trip to Millwall, which nobody's going to want.
Yeah.
Away trips to Swansea, and then home to Rotherham and Birmingham to end the month. So whilst every fixture is winnable, that squad's going to need to be ready, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Like the Rotherham game was a rescheduled game from earlier in the year, so I really didn't need that being thrown in there. And as you mentioned, cutting across to Swansea to come all the way back across to, it's a massive journeys. And I kind of almost think we're glad we're out of the FA Cup when I look at what Leeds have got. You see the travelling Leeds have got in 7 days. It's like, my God, they're going to hit all 4 corners of the country. That's where the squad comes in. We've got the depth in midfield. We've got players rotating at the back. For us, it has been, replacing that kind of man up front in the system that Kieran McKenna runs, which has been a problem.
Okay. All right, let's bring Joey in then, who's our Preston fan. Good evening, Joey. You okay?
Good evening. Yep, you're right. Thanks.
Yeah, not too bad. Just talk to the Ipswich fans that are watching this then about what sort of Preston side they can expect to see at Deepdale. How have you been playing? What sort of system will Lowe use against Tractor Boys this weekend?
Well, it depends on. I think he'll go with what we've been doing recently, which is a bit more attacking minded with the two up top, Reece and Keane, most likely. I think we probably played at the start of the season too much negatively, going with the three at the back and one up top on his own, which was Osmajic. And he was sort of lost in his own little world a lot of the time. And I think he's learning now that's just not going to work. And even if you're playing against a good side like Ipswich, I think he's realising actually what we need to do is actually just have that support up top. So hopefully with that, we'll go with the two up top, with Mads Frokjar as well, just behind, because he's been quite instrumental recently and getting us the goals that we've been getting. But yeah, I think what we'll try and do is just we'll probably let Ipswich have the possession, and try and counter them as much as we can. We at the moment we're not particularly doing anything that's actually attacking minded, but we're just letting teams play, and just hoping that we can do that. But to be honest with you, I think the way Ipswich play, I think it's going to be a difficult day. I'm impressed with the way that they just play without fear, and I think that might work against us. I think any team that comes to us and actually tries to attack, we'll struggle against it because we just don't have much of the ball most of the time. So yeah, I think it's going to be a difficult one for us. But hopefully we manage to just nick a couple against the run of play.
Yeah, and it was on Boxing Day, wasn't it, that Leeds came there and massively underestimated the test of Preston. So Iain, this is going to be a difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, our guys at the back, like I said, have been rotating. They have been caught out, and I think that the teams bring pace to against it. You try and play Ipswich the way we play other teams, and that actually kind of works really well. I think the teams sit back and invite us in and hope to get those breaks. Yeah, okay, Maidstone pulled off 2 goals. They're brilliant goals. But I just think at the league level, it just doesn't work. And you really got to be on top because we've got so many playmakers in the middle of the park and turn a game. We've added with Samiento from Brighton on loan. I mean, that guy is unbelievable. And he's taken 2 games to get into his full stride within the team. And I think the Preston fans are going to see this guy and they're going to say, I can see why Ipswich went and managed to steal him from West Brom where he was on loan there, because he is such a live wire. The guy's destined to be a top man at Brighton if they keep him there, to be honest. So that would be interesting to see how much freedom he has in the middle of the park. There are a couple of players who are competing for the kind of owning that area, that central attacking midfield role. And it'd be interesting to see how that works.
Right. Iain, can I get your January Player of the Month, please, before I ask you both to make some predictions?
Yeah, again, it's difficult to choose one because we've been a bit inconsistent. I would say probably for me, it's going to be Harry Clark, who started off December as a pretty poor December, but he seemed to turn the form around. And with Brandon Williams being out with a kind of prolonged injury and called back to Manchester United over a couple of other issues, I'm not sure what they are exactly. He's stepped back into the right back role and he's been pretty solid there, to be honest. And he didn't play on Saturday, so he can say it wasn't his fault what went wrong.
Okay. Thank you for that. Harry Clark gets your nod. Let's go to score predictions. Joey, you could go first with this one, please. You're the home team. Preston against Ipswich at Deepdale.
Yeah, I think I can see Ipswich just about winning this one. I think they'll probably just have a bit too much quality for us on the day. I think, like I said, I'm quite impressed with Ipswich. They managed to stave off the chasing pack at the minute, and I think I don't see them seeing us as a challenge to stop doing that. I think they'll probably just nick it, but I can't see it being quite a battering as some teams have had at Deepdale this season. But I can still see them just about getting the win there.
Okay, nice one, thank you. And Iain?
Yeah, I agree. I think you've seen what we were like against Leicester the other day on TV. We struggled in the first half to get our rhythm. I can see that being much the same. But second half, we come out, we're a different team, has been probably all season. And I would like to think that, come the second half, we'll be able to capitalise on some of these chances. And I would hope that we would run out at least 2-1 winners on the road, which will just keep us in second position and frustrate Southampton and Leeds even more.
Nice one. Thank you both for joining us. Thank you, Iain. Thank you, Joey. Enjoy the game, both of you. We'll catch you next week.
Cheers. Have a great weekend.
Cheers.